Do you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's podcast time. Yeah, dig it? The Dynasty Podcast is brought to you by Jube's Family Restaurant. Family owned and operated since 2002. Jube's Family Restaurant's gourmet pizza and fresh food seafood is better than dirty, dirty sex. Get your ass to Jube's Family Restaurant and don't forget to tip your fucking waitress.
Greetings and salutations. This is episode number 16 in the final regular season show of the Dynasty Podcast, brought to you by our wonderful sponsor, Jube's Family Restaurant. Coming to you from the Tom Berkowitz Trucking Riverdale Studios, this is your commissioner, Eric Costanza, alongside my trusty co-host, Bubba Palucha. And Bub, has the season just flown by for you, or has it kind of gone slowly for you, personally? Personally speaking.
I want to plead the fifth on that question.
You're going to plead the fifth on that question, is what you're going to do. Kind of like in, what was that movie with Susan Sarandon from the 90s? The Client, was it called?
I don't know.
I think it was called The Client.
No, I'll actually answer the question.
Oh, okay.
I was just yanking your chain. It's flown.
Is it flown
absolutely
by?
flown. It's terrible because
Right.
you look forward so much to football season, and then all of a sudden it is just
Gone.
gone in the blink of an eye. Like what? Hold on, ready? Blink. It's basically gone.
Gone. Yeah, I totally agree. And when you're in the middle of it, you don't realize it, but it feels like it was just September.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
But it's not. That's not
It's
the
not
case.
anymore. It is not September.
So we got a lot in store here for this show. I'm excited, and I'm very confident that this show is going to be wonderful, as they all are. So let's go ahead and get right into it. I do want to let everyone know that, fortunately, we will not be doing the Call the Dynasty podcast team segment.
Sons of bitches.
Yeah, we kind of challenged everyone out there, and we actually only got one coach, and I'll let everyone know, it's Coach Brandon, and a double tip of the hat to him, only because he's completely out of it. So the fact that he's still, willing and wanting to kind of participate in things is even, that much better. But yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that we didn't get anyone else wanting to participate. But I think for the most part, Bub, the Call the Dynasty podcast team has been, it was a good idea by you. And
Yeah,
success.
I think it added some not only interactiveness between the coaches, but I think it was just a fun little mix-up.
Sure.
I think sometimes, doing the podcast, and we do a lot of the same things every week. I know we try to mix it up here and there, but throwing a new wrench into things, I think, made it a little fun. We'll have to talk about it this offseason and maybe tweak a few things. But yeah, I think overall it was a good thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think when you brought it up as an idea last offseason, I think really my only fear, I don't know if fear is the right word, but my only fear was, getting, getting people to participate and counting on others other than you and I. Not that I don't trust all you guys, but obviously it's a little bit of a task, I guess, to have to call in and ask us a question. But I think it's definitely a segment that we will certainly continue to tinker with and continue to do next year and future years. But let's get to the show. So we're gonna go ahead, and we're at the end of almost at the end of the regular season. By the time you're listening to the show, you may have already received an email from me regarding this, or you will be soon. But we are it's that time of year, Bob. It's time for us to kind of look at the some of the draft pick of the year that we always will do, the MVP, and I think new this year we'll kind of maybe talk a little bit about trade of the year. And then, of course, the all-important commissioner approval ranking and the league fun rank. So what we're going to do is Bub and I are going to kind of briefly talk about each of those categories. I actually asked Bub, which it looks like he did do, to come prepared.
You sound shocked.
I apologize if that's how I sound. I am not shocked that you did this. Is it on a napkin?
No, it's just
on a legit piece of paper.
It's this was I had one of my students write a note to remind me to change one of his grades.
Okay.
And so then I took that
and
spit on it, and then I used the back of it.
So I asked Bub to come prepared with, what he thinks the candidates should be for each category. I've come prepared. We're going to talk about it, and hopefully Bub and I can come to a decision. We do disagree a lot, as you guys know, on a lot of things. But hopefully we can work together, Bub.
Yep.
And come up with the candidates for each of these categories in which the entire league will vote on. So let's start, Bub. Should we start with draft pick of the year?
Draft pick of the year.
And we'll have a little Dynasty music here in the background just to add to the ambiance, if you will. Draft pick of the year. So I'll start if it's okay with you.
Sure.
To be honest with you, and of course, certainly may be biased here, but I personally think that there are 3 obvious candidates.
I think there are 3 as well. I wrote down 6, but
Okay.
I have 3, and let's see if they're the same.
Okay, 3 obvious candidates, and to break that down even more, and the bias part is where this is going to shine here. Out of those 3 obvious, I think there's 1 obvious winner. However,
I disagree.
Okay, all right, and that's fair.
I know where you're going with that, but go ahead.
So we'll start with Josh Gordon, picked in the 8th round
Is he on
by
your team?
myself.
That's weird.
He is a Riverdale Scooper. He is the 2nd-ranked wide receiver in the league as of right now. So you have him on your
I have
list.
him on my list. He was one of my 3.
So that will be a candidate then, definitely. Second candidate I have, and again, this is in no particular order, Alshon Jeffrey, wide receiver, picked in the 10th round by Mr. Coach DeYoung of the Rocky Island Senators. You have him?
I do.
Very good.
He was
also
one of my 3.
Excellent. Number 3, Noshawn Marino, running back, round 12 to Brutal Deluxe.
Nailed it.
Excellent. Look
Awesome.
at us. Now this is where it gets a little. There's a bunch of candidates. I guess you could make an argument for in the last couple slots. Honestly, it probably doesn't matter because one of those 3, I think are definitely going to win. I have Antonio Brown, round 5 by Pig Newtons.
I didn't have him on my list. I think it's a good pick. I think he's pretty much going between 5, 6, maybe 7.
Yep.
I think that's basically. Yeah, and he's doing well, but I think that's.
I am not married to any of these.
Yeah, I think that's just kind of that was a good pick, certainly.
Okay.
But it was Phil, so I don't want to give him any credit.
I do want to say too, all right, I'll table that until pretend I never started speaking.
Okay.
Another guy, Fred Jackson, round 11 to
looked
Bill
at him.
Carroll.
I looked at him, and I was going to add him to my list, and I, at the end, kind of decided against it. But I did glance at him.
You glanced at him. Okay. 2 quarterbacks I have: Tony Romo and Russell Wilson. One going to the Senators, the other going to Brutal. Both in round 8. Did you have them?
I again saw them. I thought Russ Wilson. He is having a good year. Okay, another good pick, but I don't think anything
didn't stand out
spectacular.
For you. Sure.
Who
did you have?
I also looked at Romo too.
Okay.
Didn't have him on the list, but again, a good pick. I'm a little embarrassed about my other 3. What I did is I went to the end of the draft, and worked my way backwards.
That's exactly what I did.
And so I had Moreno in round 12.
Yep.
I put Woodhead on there in 11.
I looked at him.
Looking back on it, probably not gonna be there, but I think he deserves at least a recognition.
Yep.
I'm gonna skip the next one because looking at his stats, it's actually not as good as I thought it was.
Okay.
It was Pierre Thomas, by the way.
By the way,
in
Woodhead.
the 11th.
Sorry. What did you? Pierre Thomas in the 11th? Is that
Yeah,
what you said?
but now looking at stats, he's had a couple good games.
And that was a rapist, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And back to the Woodhead. That was Hong Kong
Yes.
in what round?
11.
11. Okay.
And then, although he hasn't been doing, he actually played well this week. The last few weeks he's been tough quarterback situation. Jordan Cameron
Yes.
in the 10th round to Hong Kong.
He would have been my pick if we were making this decision in up until week 7 or 8.
Right, exactly.
But he's kind of tailed off
Yep.
since then.
Yep. The 6 that I had.
Okay.
Those are the 6 I had. So.
All right. The final, again, it probably doesn't matter, but the final 2 candidates, other than Gordon, Jeffrey, and Marino, do you want to go Woodhead and one of mine, or do you want to go?
I'm not sold on Woodhead, so it doesn't. If you want to go 2 of yours, that's okay.
I'll tell you what. I'll pick one of mine, and you pick one of yours for the final 2 candidates. I'm gonna go ahead and since he was both on our list, let's go with Fred Jackson.
Okay.
Round 11 to the Yellow Peril.
Okay.
Which one would you like to go with?
I think I'm gonna go Cameron. I think in the end he's gonna have some good stats. Like I said, he had a good game this past week. I think he's gonna end up, even though he had a rough patch there, as one of the top tight ends. So I'll go Jordan Cameron in the 10th to Hong Kong.
Very good. Now, as far as who, Bub, you are gonna actually pick, do you mind going on record here and telling us who you are going to select and why?
That's a tough question.
It certainly is.
You're putting me on the spot.
It certainly is. I know how much you probably don't want to pick a guy for me, but
it's true.
But you know, let's take I'm confident that the entire league will do this as well. I certainly do it for certain coaches. Let's just pick. Let's be unbiased and pick who you think should really win, regardless of who the coach is or anything like that. And to be in all honesty, if it is Marino or Jeffrey, I will totally get it. I personally think Gordon should win. He's the second best receiver, and he's been obviously completely carrying my team.
Games.
He missed 2 games.
And he still has 1,400 yards.
Right. I mean, when I think of draft pick of the year, I don't think of necessarily who was the best player. I think of value and where they were drafted and versus how, well they did for you. I mean, picking a guy like, I can't like someone who was really good in like round 2.
Peyton Manning.
Right, Peyton Manning. I mean, that wouldn't, in my opinion, that really wouldn't be draft pick of the year because you picked him in the second round. He's supposed to be really good.
Right.
I guess you could make the argument that he, should have went number 1 overall. But anyway, that's how I think of draft pick of the year. You don't have to think of it that way. That's how I think of it. So, Bub, who would you go ahead and go with?
I don't think you're gonna be happy with me. You're not. Josh Gordon, unbelievable year.
Yeah.
Round 8. At the time, I thought maybe you reached a little bit on him, but at that point, it's kind of
Yeah. Turns out that
flipping coins. But
it was the other way.
Oh, it's a great, absolutely great pick, and I don't think anyone expected him to do this well.
No.
8th round, good value, obviously. I'm gonna have to go Moreno in the 12th.
Okay.
Just looking at his stats, he's had, I think, only 1 or 2 games of single-digit fantasy points.
Right.
For the record, Gordon's had 3.
Right.
And he's missed 2 games, which maybe you might say that makes him even better because of his stats, but that's 2 games you didn't have him for, as opposed to Moreno. So that was part of it. And just the fact that 12, it's 4 rounds later. That's you're picking 12th round. You're picking garbage guys,
Sure.
not one of the
top 5
running backs in the league.
right.
So I would have to go Moreno, but
No arguments here. I would actually go with Jeffrey over Gordon. I would go Jeffrey after Gordon personally. Marino would be 3 for me, and the reason I say that is because again, this is the Dynasty draft pick of the year, so you want to factor in what that player did actually on their own, on the team or teams they were on.
I thought of that as well.
He got drafted by Brutal Deluxe, who obviously sucked, and then he got traded to Hong Kong, he's been great for Hong Kong. I don't know, that for me personally, that factors in a little bit, and it does for MVP, which we'll get to.
Yes, for me that factors more for MVP as opposed to draft. I think for me, draft pick of the year is just what player at that position is the best fit, was the best pick.
Okay, fair enough. Well, there it is. So, candidates for draft pick of the year is Josh Gordon, Alshon Jeffrey, Noshawn Marino, not Danny Woodhead, Freddie Jackson, and Jordan Cameron.
Yes.
So let's go to MVP. And actually, quickly, last year I won draft pick of the year, RG3. So we'll see if I am a back-to-back champ or if the league decides I will not be in it. We'll go to either Will or probably Matt Wiffin, who would get credit for Noshawn. Wait, would he?
No, Brutal would.
Brutal would. See, again, that factors in for me. We don't even know who the fuck it would go to. MVP, and I am the reigning champ for that too. I won it with Tom Brady last year. Bub, why don't you go ahead and, first of all, we're going to shut the music off.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
We're going to shut this music off. Thank you, Jay-Z.
Fuck.
It had its time, and now we're just getting distracted.
Yeah.
So, Bub, I'm going to let you take the lead on this. Who did you have for your candidates for MVP?
I have A written down, and I know obviously we're going to narrow them down, but I'll throw out some names. Let me know what you think.
Throw them out there.
Obviously, I think you have to start with Peyton Manning.
Sure.
He's outscoring everyone by a large margin.
Sure. I have him on my list.
Yep. Jimmy Graham.
Also on my list.
Top tight end, 183 some odd fantasy points.
I think he'd be like a top 5 receiver if
I
he was a
think
receiver.
he maybe even top 3.
Yep.
Drew Brees.
Yup.
Jamal Charles.
Yup. That's just my top 4, by the way.
I think you have to throw Calvin in there. He's having another great year.
That would be my top 5.
Now I got 3 more.
Sure.
And Marshawn Lynch.
Okay.
Having another solid year.
Mm-hmm.
Helping
VIP,
to be where he is at this point.
Yep.
Sean McCoy.
Yep.
Great year.
Yep.
And then my last one, and I think
Peterson.
nope.
Okay.
This pick is
Stephen Hoshka.
Potentially my winner. I haven't decided yet.
Whoa. Black Dog. No.
Matt Forte.
Matt Forte.
And here's why. If you look at Matt Forte's
Great
stats,
year, but
he is as consistent as they come.
But I will argue that if you're going to go with consistency, wouldn't you go with the number 1 ranked consistent player?
No, I understand.
Which is Jamal Charles.
I understand Jamal Charles is having an unbelievable year.
Which, by the way, my pick is not Jamal Charles, but I'm just arguing to that point regarding consistency.
I understand he's having an incredible year, and I'll read his stats off in a sec.
Yep.
But Forte, quickly, 15, 13, 16, 17, 11, 10, 28, 23, 4, 18, 9, 15, 23.
Yep.
All, mostly
right.
Great games. And Jamal Charles, quickly, for what it's worth, again, having an unbelievable year. Mm-hmm. 15, 15, 23, 18, 17, 24, 15, 11, 9, 7, 27, 17, 20. So more consistent than I thought.
Yes. But you know what? Thank you for bringing up Forte, and we looked at the numbers, and I think you're here now agreeing that, I personally don't think Forte should be in the top 5.
Really?
I don't. I think that the 5 guys you named first, Manning, Graham, Breeze, Charles, Megatron, to me, are all more worthy of MVP of the Dynasty 10 Jupe's Family Restaurant over Matt Forte.
But the problem with that is Breeze and Graham are on a team that are not going to make the playoffs.
Okay.
Calvin was traded.
Can I address I want to address that.
And I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
Because my vote is Drew Brees, and I'm going to tell you why. The reason that Drew Brees is my vote is because, first of all, he's the second best quarterback in the league. In my opinion, he's been the most consistent quarterback over Peyton this year. I know Peyton's obviously put up more points, and this isn't MVP of the NFL. Obviously, that's probably going to go to Peyton. This is MVP of the Dynasty 10. So who's been the most valuable player on their team this year in the Dynasty, not the NFL? And to me, Johnny C, even though he is going to miss the playoffs likely by 1 game, he was in it the whole way, and it was almost all, and the other part was Graham, which to me this is why he is also eligible for this, was all Drew Brees. And he led all players in weekly scoring 4 times, which is at least 2 more than everyone else, including Peyton Manning. So for me, and again, if Peyton was on, like, say, Hong Kong all year, again, that factors in for me. And maybe it shouldn't, but that's just my personal opinion. So, to me, my vote is going to go to Drew Brees of the Rapists.
So here's my rebuttal to that.
Yep.
I'm going to read you some numbers.
Hit me, math boy.
16, 16, 17, 24. That's the 4 games Peyton has had under 30 points.
Okay.
24, 14, 23, 20, 23, 16, 23, 9.
So he's had more.
That's 8 games that Drew Brees has had under 30.
So you knocked out my consistency.
Like you knocked
like
out
I knocked out. So we're knocking out each other's points, or arguments or whatnot. But
no, I understand what you're
saying. For me, it's still
Manning,
Brees. But for you, it's who now?
Well, hold on. I want to make a point first.
Sure.
I lost my train of thought. Manning obviously wasn't on. I think you said Manning wasn't on Hong Kong all year.
Right.
Brees was. Again, you probably said this already. Brees was basically the reason that Johnny was even close.
Yeah.
He had a lot of injuries with trades, especially. Tough year. Brees was his rock, him and Graham. So I can see why you would say that. My pick is going to be Jamal Charles.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to argue that.
He's the number one non-quarterback. He obviously, we read the stats before. He's very consistent, puts up a lot of points every week.
And where would I be without Jamal Charles, right? Like, I mean, we were just talking about Gordon earlier.
Yep.
And obviously, I have, a good amount of good players, but Jamal has been, like you just said, my rock all year. He's put up not only great numbers, but consistent week in and week out. I'm not going to argue that. And if I were to, he'd probably be my runner-up. But I'm still going to go with Breeze. It sounds like you're going to go with Jamal.
Yep.
You guys have all heard some of your, our points. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't, but we will look forward to hearing, what the vote comes out to see who the winner is. Something new, Bub, that we're going to look at this year. It's not really an award. I don't even know how it's going to really play itself out here. More of maybe just for a discussion piece here. But let's talk about Trade of the Year. To me, last year, this was just going off of memory. Chris, to me, I think got the Trade of the Year, which was when he traded for Doug Martin. Who went on to win. I think he only gave up like a sixth or
I think it was a fourth.
But I think he got like a fifth or a sixth in return.
It was like Doug Martin and like Baltimore's defense, and they swapped like a 4 and a 6 or something like that.
So Trade of the Year may be one of those things that is really hard to be determined until we actually see what's the title. But let's just give it a shot here. I have a couple, Bub, and then you can chime in. I have actually my first two are keeper trades which occurred. One of which is when the Rapists obtained Drew Brees, and he gave up a 4th round pick to Chris VIP, in which Chris actually ended up drafting Matty Ryan with that 4th round pick. So now when we talk about Trade of the Year, yes, that's a long gastral movement, Bubba. When we talk about Trade of the Year, there's a few ways of looking at it. We were just talking about this offline. Either you can give it to the team who got like the best trade, and the other guy got completely fucked and hosed over, or you can give it to the trade that really helped both teams. So I don't really know which one we're going with here.
I don't know either.
So we don't know what we're doing, but to me, that's one of the trades of the years. Another trade of the year is involving me and you, Bub, when I got Jamal Charles off of you for a 10th round pick next year.
Probably should have haggled a little more on that one.
Yes, but to be honest with you, if you did, I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, well, so then you wouldn't have had him, and you wouldn't be in the position that you are today.
Probably.
Who would you have, just out of curiosity, do you know who you would have gone after?
I really don't. I probably would have made a trade for someone, but who that would have been, it may have been
if you think of the
Calvin.
Calvin was
probably
one.
would have been Calvin. Whoever
Could you have kept Brady, or did you keep him last year?
No, I kept. Wait.
Brady?
Did I?
No, you traded.
I traded.
You could have.
Oh yeah. That's what I would have done. That's exactly what I would have done. I would have kept Brady because that was all within the same week. I made a few moves at the same time. So I would have kept Brady. So I probably would not have been in the same position I am in now. Although I have some quarterback issues of my own. What other trades of the year do you have, Bob?
I have 3 trades, all involving Zach actually. Number 1, Zach and John.
Oh, is it Reggie Wayne?
Nope, I have that one.
Okay.
But that's not the first one. We'll talk about that one. Was it Reggie Wayne in a 10th for a 5th? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
And then like that week or
he
the
got
week
hurt
after,
or something,
he snipped his knee.
So the kind of more again the same old song and dance for John, more injury related here, but due to the injury which occurred, which is no way of predicting, obviously, Zach obviously got way.
Like a bandit.
Although we did say at the time we thought that was a little high for Wayne, a 5th round pick.
Yep.
But
still,
you never.
Hey, I mean, look what happened. Luck's been sucking. The Colts have been sucking without him. So maybe he is really more important than we thought.
Right.
The second one, which is actually my first one, but with Zach and John, is Foster and Seattle's defense for a 2nd round pick. Foster then snipped his knee.
Ooh, that's right.
So Zach basically got a 2nd round pick for Seattle's defense.
That's right. Yep,
So,
I agree.
Tough luck for John again. I'm sorry, John, if you're listening. But I think that was pretty big.
I agree with you, Bob. And for the 5th candidate, let's go with...
I have one more.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
I have one more.
Sorry, Bubba.
Involving Zach and Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Zach traded away Le'Veon Bell, Stephen Ridley, and Vincent Jackson for a 4th-round pick and a conditional, depending on Ridley. Which at the time, I remember talking to him about this. I said, "Oh, that seemed like kind of a lot just for a 4th-round pick." And his rebuttal to that was he wasn't going to get higher for any of them individually.
Yep.
Le'Veon Bell wasn't having a great year. Ridley was sucking at the time. Vince Jackson was pretty good. So instead of trading them individually and getting maybe a 6 or a 7 for them, he decided to trade them all for a 4th.
Yep.
So I think that works out pretty well for both of them. So I mean, Chris, I guess depends on if he's gonna make the playoffs.
And that's the thing, and that's gonna come up. That's my possible 5th candidate is the Hong Kong trade, in which you got Peyton Manning and C.J. Spiller to Solglow, and he traded a 2nd, a 9th, and a 12th. Now, obviously, quite the steep price to have to get those 2 players, in which it turned out really only to be Manning.
Yeah, especially when one of them C.J. Spiller.
Yeah, I mean, Spiller, I don't think Matt's used him, and if he has, it's been like once or twice, if that. So, but with that said, if Matt goes on to win the title, in large part due to or because of Peyton, I mean, I think we would all agree that we would all trade a 2nd, 9th, and 12th for a championship.
Yes.
So this one's a little tough because if Matt, say, loses in the 1st round, then obviously it was a good trade for Brian. Either way, it's probably a good trade for Brian. But so I don't know. Between the last 2 trades, Bob, that we just were talking about, I'll let you make the call. Which one do you want to be the final candidate on the trade of the year?
I'm a little impartial to the Bell, Ridley, Vincent Jackson for 4th.
Let's do that. We'll do that one then. So trades of the year will be Jamal Charles for a 10th round pick, Drew Brees for a 4th round pick, Reggie Wayne in the 10th for a 5th. What was the Arian Foster one?
It was Foster and Seattle's defense for a 2nd.
And what was the 5th
and
one?
then it was Bell, Ridley, Jackson for a 4th.
Okay.
And there was a conditional pick with Ridley in there, but I don't think it's going to happen. So.
Very good. So that will be up for trades of the year. And then finally, the 2 final things, the commissioner approval rank, obviously. We really tried really, really hard last year to get that perfect commish rank, which I was able to do thanks to all
you
of
did?
you. Yeah.
I didn't know.
Thanks in large part all due to you guys and believing in me. Not sure if I really, tried my hardest to appease everyone this year. Although, Bub, should that be what I try to do every year? Like, should I be trying to appease everyone as a commissioner? There's part of that, right?
Well,
but
you don't. I mean, you don't want to rule with a complete, iron fist. But
right.
Sometimes you got to lay the hammer down.
Right, which I think I did. I obviously made some enemies this year, and I think I'll admit that there were a few times that maybe I didn't handle things completely perfectly. Although I do look at them as learning experiences and learn from them and try to, try to implement that for the next time.
Is this Oprah?
Bub, I do want to let everyone know that there is going to be a little bit of a new method starting this year regarding the commission approval rank. So what's going to happen is if you are going to give me anything less than a 10, which is absolutely fine, but if you are, then you also, in order for that to be a valid pick in which you are not getting a warden for, you need to also provide either like some sort of example, specific reason, like if you were the commish, what you would have done differently as to why, you're giving a 9 or an 8 or whatever.
I have a question.
Yes.
If we provide a reason,
it doesn't matter if I agree to it or not.
That's my point. So obviously it can't be because chickens can't fly.
Yeah, it has to be a valid reason why, though. Like I could disagree to it.
Right.
But it has to be a legitimate reason.
We're all grown men.
We all let's use the common sense factor here. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, and Bub, let's do it. Give it to me. Maybe you haven't thought a lot about it, but and you can change it.
This wasn't on my on my list of things to do.
I am putting you on the spot. A lot of that. You want to know why, Bub? A lot of our league members look up to you. They look up to you.
Obviously.
I hope we all look up to Bubba. And so they might want to hear your opinion. You spend the most time with me, right? And you're my apprentice here, so you might have a little bit more inside knowledge on what you think I should get. I will not be bucked. I will not jump up and down. If you give me a 10, I will just sit here and listen to your thought. What do you got? What are you going to give me? Or what do you think you're going to give me?
I have thought about this already.
And by the way, there are no .5s. It is all in one decimal.
So integers.
Sure.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Correct.
So no decimals.
Correct.
Okay. Whole numbers here, people. Whole numbers. I've thought about this. And hear me out.
Sure.
And this is kind of a silly reason. And this is why I asked the question earlier. But this is, I'm going to shoot you straight.
Hit it to me.
I'm going to give you a 9. And this is my legitimate only reason. I don't want to hear you complain that we didn't give you a ceremony for getting a perfect 10. So if everyone else gives you a 10, I will be the one to give you a 9 so you don't get a perfect 10.
I'm holding in laughter right now. Fair enough. Legit reason. Do I agree? No. Does it matter? No. However, out of curiosity, I have a question for you.
Hit me.
Am I wrong by being a bit? I'm sure you heard me on the podcast with John and Wiffin when they asked me all about that and everything, and Brian. And I explained it more in detail.
Yep.
Am I wrong in being a little miffed at that? And the answer can be no, you're not wrong. Yet I'm still giving you a 9. That's fine.
I personally think yes, you are.
Yes,
I
am wrong.
You are wrong to be partially upset about that.
And why?
And here's why. You are the commissioner. You should, in reality, I know in a perfect world, you should get a 10. I mean, I know things happen, yada, yada, yada. But that's what...
I think that is very a minority of commissioners out there.
Well, maybe that's my thought.
Okay.
But the second thing is, who cares? It's a commissioner approval ranking of a fantasy football league. And I know this is the greatest fantasy football league in the country and the world. I get it. It's so much fun. I have a lot of fun with podcasts and all that stuff.
Yep.
But at the end of the day,
if
you get a 9 or a 10, what's the difference?
You're right.
That's
You're
my
right.
personal.
You're right.
That's so. I'm shooting you straight.
Yeah.
When you kind of complained a little bit on when you were on the podcast.
Yep.
I was listening. I said, I almost got mad at you.
You would get mad at me for me getting mad
just
at.
because in my personal.
I appreciate the openness.
It's a big deal.
I appreciate the openness and the honesty. I am not bucked, and maybe I shouldn't have been a little miffed. I guess I was just hoping for a little bit of appreciation, but I'm not going to get into all that. Thank you, Bubba, for that opinion.
You're welcome.
And that would be a perfect example, people, of why you would maybe not give me a 10 and the reason for it. Maybe you are going to give me a 10. Maybe Bubba's going to be the only guy to give me a 9. We don't know. And maybe if that's the case, maybe he'll rethink.
Nope.
Oh, shoot. Lastly, and I know fellas and listeners, this intro here is running long, but it's okay because we've taken other things out of this show, so it was going to make up for it. The league fund rank, always a very important thing here in the league. Obviously, some of it has to do with your personal, wins and losses, how you're doing in the league. But as we all know, we have so many things in the Dynasty, whether you're 1-14 or 13-2. I've always said in the Dynasty, you guys have heard me say this time and time again, if you're not having fun in the Dynasty, it's your own fucking fault. And I truly believe that. Bob, what is your league fund rank? And this is coming from a coach who's normally in the thick of things, that this year he is out of it. Go.
Looking at most likely a 5-win season, which hasn't happened to me since my inaugural year.
Wait, what's your record right now?
5-9.
Yeah, you're gonna go 6-9. You're gonna beat Zach. But go ahead.
Well, you never know.
Right.
Actually, that's true. I forgot. I thought I was playing Johnny. I played him last week, so I could end up with 6. So
either way.
Anyway, first time in a long time I haven't been in it, but like you said, there's a lot of things to do. I still had an absolute blast. Putting my team together each week and scouring the free agent list and the waiver wire and
all the other interactive
For
things.
Example, beating Johnny this week and officially knocking him out of the play. You know, stuff. Little
you beat me.
Yeah,
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
which may be the difference.
Absolutely, I love making fun of Phil every week. So yeah, I still had a lot of fun. I'm still gonna give it a solid 10.
High fives, Bob. Boom.
High fives, plural.
Yeah. Boom. There it is.
One more.
Bam. On this show, we'll review what happened in Week 14. We're going to attempt to talk out the playoff scenario. We're going to preview Week 15. We're going to welcome on Coach Matt Wiffin of the Hong Kong Cavs for the coaches interview, plus much, much more. Stay tuned. Here we go.
Now let's take a look into last week's results. Who kicked some ass? Who sucked?
So, Bub, Week 14, weather completely,
bonkers.
Ran rampant
Bonkers.
on the country. It just affected so many games, so many decisions on so many Dynasty coaches' parts. Some people didn't give a shit about the weather. I think Brandon left in a kicker who's playing in a goddamn blizzard.
You know what, though? You know what?
What, Bubba? What?
At first, at 1 o'clock, I said, this is going to suck. It's going to be a terrible fantasy day. And you know what happened?
The NFL scored the record amount of
most
touchdowns ever. Yeah, that's unbelievable.
I agree with you, especially to start. Everyone's like, "Oh, this sucks," but
Right.
in the end, it actually turned out to be
the opposite.
Pretty
Yeah.
good day.
Start with the game of the week. It's the Yellow Peril and the Rockdalian Senators. The Peril, they are so fucking red hot right now. 134 to 113, defeating the Senators. And by the way, we will go over some of the playoff situations and implications and whatnot later. So we're going to table that, of course, here for now. But Yellow Peril, he led the league in weekly points for the first time this year, the fourth time in his franchise's history. He's got a goddamn 10-game winning streak, which has got him 3 achievement points. He's in a 4-way tie for the second longest winning streak of all time. If he wins this upcoming week, he would tie me, Bub, for the Dynasty record of 11 games in a row. Yellow Peril is on fire, Bub. He is on fire.
On fire.
Someone
put him out. Stop, drop, and roll.
Somebody get an extinguisher and do something.
Get some water.
Let's go to the next game.
Whoa, wait.
Oh, sure.
I gotta
Sorry.
say
Yes,
something to say.
go. I will give you some time there,
Yeah.
and I didn't think you had anything, but go.
I'm going to go Martin Luther King on your ass.
You're going to assassinate me.
He assassinated someone?
He got assassinated.
Yes, obviously. If I was going to assassinate you, I'd say I'm going to go John Wilkes Booth on your ass.
Speaking of assassination, did you see my tweet the other day?
I did. That was good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Martin Luther King Jr. on your ass, and I had a dream last night. Literally, though. Not a Martin Luther King dream, but I had a dream. That's
Okay.
the connection.
Okay.
I had a dream that I woke up and Tony Romo had scored 100 fantasy points for Will, and he came back and won. He had 6 touchdowns and 600 yards. I don't think that comes out to 100 points.
Yeah.
And Calvin Johnson had scored 65 points, and I was just looking at Will's team like, holy shit, what the fuck happened?
So, Bub, you earlier, when we were talking about the Commish approval ranking, you were talking about this is only fantasy football and this and that. Yet you're having dreams in your life about this.
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. I'm sure we've all had dreams regarding the Dynasty at one point or another, or lost a little bit of sleep over something.
My typical Dynasty dreams involve me jerking off to pictures of different coaches, but we won't get into that.
Right. So let's get into the game, Bub, that I'm sure you want to talk about. I'm going to give you some time here.
Jesus Christ.
The Pig Newtons defeated Brutal Deluxe with the mighty score of 68 to 52. This is the first coach in all-time history, to Coach Phil, who actually scored 15,000 all-time points. So congratulations, Coach Phil.
Did he start with 14,600 this year?
He needed 40 to break it, and he just broke that. Well, that's not a record, but the most points. Brutal, 9 losses in a row, just continuing his horrible losing streak. Bub, I'll give you some time. Go.
Phil.
This is Oprah again. This is an Oprah Winfrey show.
Where do I begin? I'm literally speechless because your team is so fucking terrible. You scored 68 fucking points, and you won, of course, because that's what you fucking do. If I played your schedule, Phil, I would be 7-7, which isn't great, but my team fucking sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And you, I think, are what, 9-5, because you played the shitty fucking schedule.
Wait, is he 9-5 or 8-6?
No, I think he's 9-5 and Will's 8-6.
No, I think they both have the same record.
I don't think so. Let's double
well,
check.
while you look it up, I have a couple fun facts for you regarding.
He's 9-5.
Okay, sorry. So, yes, Phil's 9-5, Senators is 8-6. Last time somebody won a game in the Dynasty by scoring 68 or less points, Bob. Any ridiculous guess that you want to throw out here.
I'm going to guess you against the Iron Dogs in 08.
How did you know that?
Because I looked on the sheet.
Okay. There was no way you would. Yes, back in Dynasty 8, I beat the Iron Dogs in week 3 with, I don't know, I think it was 60-something. I don't remember. Another one. Who was the team who scored the least points to make the playoffs? Did I word that correctly, Bob?
Yeah, least amount of points
in the regular season and still make the playoffs in all-time Dynasty history. We got 9, almost 10 years of data here to go by, so it's not just, a few random years that we're talking about.
I'm going to take a stab and say Boogeymen in D3.
Again, you've looked at the sheet here. You're ruining the fun.
I'll tell you what, I never would have guessed that.
Yeah, you weren't in the league then, so it was an unfair question.
I probably would have guessed you for the other one just because it's always you.
Oh, yeah, it's always me.
But I wouldn't have guessed the year of the team.
Yeah, Dynasty 3, Boogeymen, he had 1,206 points. Now, in all fairness, that was before we've implemented the flex. So, since implementing the flex, who was the team
I don't know this one.
who made the playoffs with the least amount of points?
I'm gonna guess me.
Good guess. Nope. Me. In Dynasty 8, I had 1,459 points. How many points does Phil have right now, Bob?
Probably like
You're looking at it.
100. 1273.
1273. So if Phil makes the playoffs this year, unless he puts up some crazy, like over 200 points in the next
Phil hasn't put up over 85 points in 7 weeks.
So he's likely going to. It's not really a record, but he's gonna do some things here. Another random stat here for you, Bob. How many points per game do Pig Newton's opponents average this year?
Well, let's see. They've only put up 1163.
Don't do the math. Just give me
points.
Just give me a.
I'm gonna guess 80ish.
84 points. So that's. I mean, is that on us as opponents? I mean, we're the ones.
I think he's getting lucky.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
We have some teams here putting up a lot of points in the league.
Just not when they play
he's
Phil.
He's playing them at the right time, which that fucking Weasley knows bastard.
There may not be a bigger reason in the Dynasty to hate upon a team than getting lucky. Although the thing is Yellow Peril actually has an easier schedule than Phil, but Yellow Peril's putting up a shitload of points now.
That's the difference.
So that's the difference. I know. I was in Phil's spot a couple years ago, so I hear. I can feel Phil's frustration. It's like, hey, listen, it's not my fault,
I can see it happening. Well, you get one lucky week. I'll use Chris Heney for example. Against me earlier in the year, he won like 71-62 or something. But pretty much every week, besides
that's
that,
the difference.
He's putting up 100+ points. Phil is putting up 80 points. He put up 60 fucking something points this week. That's pathetic.
Hong Kong Cavaliers beat Soglo 111-91. Not much to report here regarding this game, so let's just move forward here into the North Riverdale Division. VIP on Swole narrowly defeating Handyquacks in almost a huge upset, 108-101. Handyquacks has clinched last place in the North Riverdale Division, which means he will be teaming up with Mr. Brandon McDowell to get the pizza at next year's draft. Man, I am not one to talk because I am certainly in the midst of a quarterback situation and I'm making errors left and right, but Zach certainly made a little bit of a blunder regarding his quarterback this past week where he had Josh McCown in, I think, all week up until like 3:30, and he decided to slap Fitzpatrick in, which was the difference between a win and a loss, which is obviously huge for Chris and huge for me. Because if Chris lost, I probably ought to already be in the playoffs unless something crazy happened regarding points. But that didn't happen, and I can't complain because I am making my fair share of errors. And now it's going to come down to Chris versus me, but we'll get into that. And then, Bubba, you beat Rapist. You officially knocked him out of the playoffs. 110-106. Breeze and Graham tried coming back, but just wasn't enough. And John's lost 4 in a row, and he is now done. But yeah, good try, but just the injury bug really just got him. Right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Am I right or am I right? Or am I right?
Now, let's take a look into the future with next week's matchups.
final week of the regular season.
Week 15.
Numero 15. Coach Phil, Coach Johnny C, and myself. This is our 150th all-time game played in the Dynasty this upcoming week. I am wearing a throwback jersey. I don't know what Phil and John are doing, but that's what I'm doing.
I'm not wearing any clothes.
I've noticed. We have 2 huge games coming up here in Week 15. A few other games that mean a little bit of something, but 2 games that have so much at stake.
Huge.
VIP on Swole against the Riverdale Scoopers and the Rockdalian Senators against the Pig Newtons. Basically, the winners of each game will get the final 2 playoff slots, Bob.
Correct.
Am I correct?
You are correct.
Let's start, Bob, with VIP on Swole versus myself, the Riverdale Scoopers, a couple in 8 and 6 teams. We actually have Coach Chris Heney on the line. Chris, how are you?
How's it going, guys?
Doing well, Christopher. You are my opponent here in Week 15. I am your opponent in turn.
Wait.
Yes,
Is that
Bubba.
how that works?
That is how it works. I need 68 points to be the second coach to hit 15,000 all time. I hope to do that. This is a big game for you and I, Chris. I beat you 148 to 120 back when we played earlier in the season, but you beat me in the first round of the playoffs last year.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, 115 to 111 when the running back on the Seahawks, who I don't speak of, just went nuts. And Hakeem
Sean Lynch?
Yes, Hakeem Nicks fucked me up the ass.
Yes.
What do you say, Chris? I play Vernon Davis, you play Lynch, we bench everyone else, and we just go at it that way. What do you got?
I'm down. Let's do it. Bagel Davis is due for a 0, so, I'm absolutely down with Marshawn Lynch. He did let me down a couple weeks ago in that Monday night matchup to Wiffin, but, he's a big player. Big players make big plays in big games, so I'm down.
All right. Well, I'll think about it. I was probably not really going to do it, to be honest with you, but...
Probably won't get your 68 points if you do that. But.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tough one.
Yes. Well, Chris, anything else? Chris, I want to just wish you good luck, honestly. I hope to win, but you're a great coach here in the league. You've obviously proven yourself time and time again. To be honest with you, I think that you and I have got a bit of a rivalry going on here now, and I think we actually share a lot of the same coaching strategies. I know that when I was up at the draft board, because since you were like kind of up close, being in the champion seat, almost every time I picked you were like, hey, nice pick, and I was kind of doing the same. So I think we have a lot of the same strategies and players, and so good luck to you. And
thank you. And same to you. I do enjoy matching up against you, and I look forward to this weekend's matchup. I certainly hope it doesn't come down to a Torrey Smith on Monday night or some lone Monday night game where I have to bite my nails off. But, I'm sure it'll be a great matchup. Looking forward to it, and may the best team win.
Agreed, Chris. Good luck to you, and farewell. You've heard it from Coach Chris Heney, and Bub, I gave him a little bit of time to speak here. Is it okay if I address my team? Is that okay with you?
No.
Okay, so this little thing I put together is completely worthless?
I will give you exactly...
I'm going to need a little bit of time, but...
I'm going to give you 1 minute, but don't go yet. So you better talk very quickly. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm not ready. Hold on. Ready?
Yes.
Set. Go.
We are the Riverdale Scoopers. We are winners. It is our destiny to win. We must battle through the night. We must be courageous. We must be strong. And we don't fear anything. We are the Riverdale Scoopers. This is where all of our hard work in the off-season training camp and weight rooms are going to pay off. This is a celebratory season, goddammit. This is the year that it all comes together. 10 years of winning shall be topped off with this one thing that our franchise has yet to obtain. I look at you, Green Bay Packers training staff, and I hope that you will finally fix Aaron Rodgers' collarbone.
30 seconds.
Jamal Charles, you have been my rock. You have been my savior all season. And I expect you to get at least 2 touchdowns against Oakland. Giovanni Bernard, you son of a bitch. I drafted you in the 5th round when nobody believed in you. And now I need you more than ever. Derek Decker, you white boy, you Caucasian. Torrey Smith, Phil murdered your brother. Do it for him. Josh Gordon, Vernon Davis. We are the Riverdale Scoopers, and we're gonna do it. Time's up. Oh, I'm gonna pass out.
That's pretty good. You got it all in.
Oh, it's
Shit.
Can I do
Rebuttal.
Can I do my team now?
You do your team.
Okay, ready? Can I have cool music?
I don't have anything queued
Okay,
up, though.
you gotta hit me with a soft.
You want to rap? You want a rap beat? Do you want to rap? Do you want a rap beat?
Okay, yeah. Hold on.
Okay.
Give me 1 sec. Let me. Yeah, I like this. Okay. Hold on. I kind of double. Ooh, I like that. Palm is sweaty, knees weak, arms are hairy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti, he's nervous. On the surface, he was calm and ready to drop bombs, but he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud, he opens, but the words won't come out. He's choking now. Everybody's choking down. The clock's run out of time.
That had nothing to do with your team, but that was fun.
No. That's an original piece by me. I actually wrote that.
That was wonderful. Oxygen. All right. The next game here, let's stick with the North real quick. Rapists and the Boston Loggers really doesn't mean anything anymore. Both teams have now been eliminated.
It means a little something. Do you know why?
The possible top 4 in the draft.
If John loses and Brian wins,
Yep.
John would actually end up going down to
Tier 1 of
the top 4 there,
which is crazy. Which would automatically be in the top 3 because Zach has the warning.
Correct.
Which is kind of crazy because John's been up until this week's been right in the thick of it. And it means one more thing. I'm
tired.
I am too. The loser of this game, now that Ben and Chris have played 30 regular season games and they're now eligible for all-time stats after this upcoming game, which, by the way, I made that up because I'm the commissioner. The loser of this game will be in the bottom of all-time losing or all-time winning percentage at the very bottom. So bragging.
Top of the losing percentage.
I said that horribly. I'm still
okay.
a little verklempt.
I got you.
Handy Quacks and Bubblegum Shrimp are battling it out, which means nothing, right? It means nothing.
Nope.
In the South Riverdale division, we got ourselves another big matchup.
Huge.
The Rockdalian Senators up against the Pig Newtons. These are a tale of two themes this season, right? What are the themes, Bubba?
I'm going to go with like an autumn theme and more of a wintry theme, kind of clashing theme.
That's interesting. I was going to go with the team that is putting up a huge amount of points and winning, and the team that is putting up an average to lower amount of points, yet still winning.
Let's call a spade a spade. He's putting up shit points, and he's still winning.
Yet he's still winning, so you got to hand it to the bastard. We have Coach Phil Tamulis on the line. Coach Phil, hello.
Hello.
So you have a huge game against Will this upcoming week, a bitter rival of yours. You've beaten him 11 times over the course of the Dynasty, which is second most ever of any team that's ever beaten another team. You beat him back a few weeks ago when you guys played 90-63. This is a rematch of
90. Good job, Phil. You put up 90.
I apologize for my colleague here. This is a rematch of Dynasty Bowl 2 when you beat Will back when you won your title. Will needs 66 points to break the all-time Dynasty record for most points scored ever in any Dynasty season. Phil...
If he does that, he's probably going to beat Phil then.
Well, we will see. We actually caught up with Will. Unfortunately, he is not able to be live with us, but he sent us in a little quote. We will play it for us here now, and I will let you respond to Will.
All right, let's hear it.
This is Coach DeYoung of the Rockdalian Senators. My apologies for not being able to make the call tonight. Unfortunately, on travel. But wanted to give a call in, recognizing today or this week's game is going to be a big one. Psyched to be in competition this week, at least for a playoff spot. First time in a couple of years. Want to thank everyone this year for the ribbing and the good times, and want to wish good luck to Coach Phil and all the other folks out there. Hopefully it's a good game enough that everything's left out on the table there. Thanks again and have a good
Wow.
That was the gayest thing I've ever heard.
That was, was
it very cordial? I couldn't really hear, but I heard a good luck in there somewhere.
Yeah, you know what I think it was?
Cordial?
A couple weeks ago, he really went to town on calling me out and
he lost that game, so now I think he's like...
He called me goat cheese, didn't he?
He did, or something like that. I think he's overly being humble and nice now, which I think the fantasy gods will recognize. But anyway, Phil, I'll
Well, as we know, Will can go through stints on being passive-aggressive. As we saw, in the draft a few years ago, where he was going to take a dump on someone's lawn. So,
there was also...
And all of a sudden, the same person just wished me good luck. So, hey, I'll take it.
Possible split personality. I mean, he's the ethics manager. We've seen him do many good things, but then at the same time, we'll see him call PJ DeFagowitz and leave him murder messages on his voicemail, which is Hall of Fame, by the way. So, Phil, you've been quoted by saying, "Fate is on my side."
Yeah.
Do you... We only have another quick second here before we need to let you go and move on, but any last words or thoughts to your team, to Will, to Bubba, anything else that you want to say heading into this huge matchup, which if you win, you will make the playoffs?
It's pretty impressive, I must say. Hey, I can only play my schedule, and I've gotten the wins. Obviously, I'm going to be an underdog this week, but it really doesn't matter. It seems like, Adrian Peterson going down last week. Eddie Lacy's a little banged up, too. Romo's going for him, and, of course, I have Des Bryant, which is his favorite, red zone target, so they can tend to bounce each other out. Hey, I have a fighter's chance in this one, so... And it would make Bub's season if I made the playoffs. It was just... I would have a shit-eating grin on my face at the draft all the time next year.
I'm going to shit on
making
your
the playoffs.
lawn.
That'd be like money in itself.
I'm going to shit on your lawn if you make the playoffs.
You know what? It would be your lawn.
Damn it!
That's right. You guys live in the same heritage.
We live in the same condo development. You know what, though? I don't pay condo fees, so you'd be shitting and paying to pick it up.
Oh, he's got a point.
Fuck.
Maybe you should just paper mache the car.
Done.
Phil, thank you and good luck.
Thank you, guys.
Well, you heard it, Bubba. You heard Phil. He's humble.
I did. We just had him on the line. I heard him.
He recognizes the fact that fate's on his side, but as he said, he can only play his sketch, and it is what it is. So the Brutal Deluxe is playing Hong Kong Cavaliers. I do want to point out that with a loss by Brutal Deluxe, he would tie a Dynasty record in having the most losses in a regular season in the Dynasty history, which was back in D8 by the wonderful, glorious one-year franchise of the Iron Dogs. Brutal probably does not want to be in the same category, although it looks like he will be unless he can pull off a huge upset. And if Hong Kong scores 114 points, then Brutal would break another Dynasty record for the most points allowed in a season. Bub, care to guess who currently holds that record?
I believe I know this, and I didn't look at your paper. Coach Johnny C.
Yep, his level 5 sex offenders back in D6 led up 1,654 points. Hong Kong gets 114, then Brutal would break that record. And if Hong Kong wins, which of course it looks like he probably will, he would do what you said, Bob, he would not do, and that is tie a Dynasty record in having the most wins in a regular season in the Dynasty's history, which is 13, which of course is tied with me.
When did I say that?
You said that a couple, 3-4 weeks ago. I asked you if you thought Hong Kong was going to get to 13 wins, and you said no, and I think you laughed.
Well, I was close.
Soul Glow is up against Yellow Peril. Nothing, well, you know what? It does factor in a little bit, because if Hong Kong loses and Peril wins, then Peril will get the number 1 seed. But
No.
What?
No.
No.
Hong Kong's a game up, and he has them outscored by 100 points.
So I'm wrong.
So Hong Kong's the number 1 seed, unless Peril outscores them by 100 points, and they win and lose. But
Okay. So
Hong Kong's pretty much get wrapped up the number 1 seed.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Bubba. If Peril wins, he would tie me for the longest winning streak. I think I mentioned that earlier. Yep. Game of the week, Bub, and hit me with a bold prediction. Which, by the way, again, last week, you were very wrong.
I was close for a little bit there.
You said the Loggers were going to beat me, and you said that Soul Glow was going to beat Hong Kong.
Yeah, that was my...
None happened.
My actual bold prediction was Soul Glow was going to win. And I thought it was looking pretty good there for a second.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't looking good. My game of the week is VIP against you for the division and a playoff spot.
Yep. Kind of have two games of the week this week. I mean, both
I
games
guess,
are huge.
Well, I'm never going to put Phil in the game of the week.
Okay.
Because he's going to be an underdog by 70 points. There's my bold prediction.
All right, what is it?
Phil is going to lose by 70 plus.
Can I give a bold prediction?
Sure.
Phil is going to win this week.
No.
Which will, and then next week on the playoff show that you and I, Bubba, are going to have, we will have Phil on the phone, and I'm going to ask him the question: what percentage do you believe in the fantasy gods? And if he doesn't say anything more than 20%, then the fantasy gods will then hear that, and then he will lose round 1 by a record-breaking score.
Ooh,
that is my bold prediction.
Multi-tiered bold prediction.
That's how I roll. That's how I do things here.
Now it is time. Fucking right, it's time. So grab your balls and let's go. Coaches interview. Here we fucking go.
And now, on the Jubes Family Restaurant Coach's Guest Motherfucking Hotline. He is a Dynasty board member. He is a member of the Dynasty Power Rankings Association. One of his life goals is to sleep with Coach Ben Green's future wife. He recently held the entire South Riverdale division under hostage. He hosted a Dynasty podcast a few weeks ago, which was awesome. He is coach of the 12-2 Hong Kong Cavaliers. He is Coach Matt Wiffin. Coach, thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Coach, you've obviously had a great season so far. This is probably an obvious answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. How much funner has this season?
More fun.
How more fun?
How much more fun?
How much more fun has this season been for you versus the previous 4 years?
Well, I'll tell you, I have fun every year with you guys because you guys are awesome. No, it's been a lot of fun. It's been different being a buyer and being top dog in this bitch.
Yeah.
Word. Okay. Yeah, and Matt, I think you've regularly. I'm sorry. I've had a little. This has been a.
You okay?
I'm gonna be okay.
You gonna be all right?
What's the matter?
I don't know. I lost my train of thought, and then I don't know.
Did you poop?
Let's just move on to the next question. Assuming you beat Brutal Deluxe here this upcoming week, you would tie a Dynasty record, having
Really?
Yes, having 13 regular season wins, which would be tied with me. Which I would be honored, Matt, to have you hold this record with me. How important would this be for you?
It wouldn't be as important as getting that T-shirt. I cannot wait to have that T-shirt. Do XXL. I'm trying to lose some weight. I want to get the XL, but you gotta be a realist. I'd love an XXL, please. I will win the South Riverdale division. Mark that down. Spoiler alert.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
2 things. 1, Bub just let me know right before we called you on the air that you clinched.
Well, assuming DeYoung doesn't outscore you by 100 points.
Right.
So you pretty much wrapped it up.
2, the shirt is a pass me down? Is that what you call it?
Hand me down.
Hand me down.
Pass me.
So we don't order new.
Really?
Yeah, we don't order you a new shirt. Now, with that said,
This whole time.
if you would like to donate some of your winnings to get.
Oh, and then I gotta pay for a new Oh, this is bullshit.
Anyway.
My season is ruined. Now I gotta win it all. All right.
Coach.
Yeah.
So you pretty much are going to get the number 1 seed. The number 1 seed gets to call out who they would like to play in the first round of the playoffs. So my question for you is, could you please rank the following potential playoff teams in order of who you'd want to play? And the teams are coaches Eric, Chris, Phil, Will, and DeYoung.
That's obvious answer.
All right, hold on a second. So it's Eric, Chris, Phil, Will, and DeYoung.
Correct.
I most want to play Phil.
Obviously, because his team fucking sucks.
I don't think it's obvious.
Yep.
I do, because I don't believe in fantasy gods. I'm a fantasy atheist. I think Phil has just been lucky, and there are no gods shining upon thee. I think number 2, I'm going to call you out, Scoops. I'd say number 2, just because of your QB situation.
Matt?
Yeah.
I think you're making a huge mistake by picking Phil if this is how it goes down. I don't know if you've been paying attention.
The question's not for you.
Fuck you, Bubba. Fuck you. Matt?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been paying attention, but I regularly lose in round 1 of the playoffs. Like, literally every year. So, I don't know why you wouldn't take a guaranteed victory and just play me. So,
well, what did Phil score? Like 80 points again?
68.
Something like that?
68. 6-8.
That's right.
That's pathetic.
And he'll beat Will, not because he'll score a lot of points, it's Will's team, they're going to get diabetes and just get, like, won't get enough sugar, and they're all just, like, stop listing. Like Scott Matheson.
I think Phil's going to win. That was my bold prediction, Matt. I think Phil's going to beat Will.
That I will 100% ask for his hand in the first round.
Okay, well...
I will get on one knee and say, will you play me?
Actually, I'm looking forward to that video. I literally want to see you get down on one knee and open up like a ring box and have it say, "Phil, will you play me?" That would actually be pretty cool. I think we just figured out what your call-up video can be.
Yeah.
So, Matthew, is it okay if I call you Matthew? First
of all,
that's
sure. That's my Christian name.
Okay, well then, Matthew, I'm a Christian man. With all due respect to the other fantasy leagues that are out there, do you? And first of all, I will not be bucked. So please give me your honest answer here.
He's gonna be bucked, so just give him the real answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you legitly think that the Dynasty is the best league in the world? And if it is, why? And if you don't think it is, why?
Well, I mean, I don't know all the leagues in the world, Eric, so I wouldn't be able to give an educated. Well, I'll say yes, solely on the fact that we have you who has the patience to record keep draft pick trading. And as a commish myself, another league that shall not be named, I've pretty much given up on any extracurricular activities in the league. Basically, it's very stressful, and I hate everyone in my league now being a commissioner, and I'm assuming you do too, and you're just, yeah, exactly. So I would say yes, just solely on that portion of it.
Very good, and there are times where I hate all of you, and then there's times I love all of you. Probably depends on if I win or lose.
Yeah.
Coach, everyone, and I mean everyone, literally every single person, always says that the season is worthless and pointless if you don't win the championship.
Hey, Bob.
Yes.
I'm going to interrupt you there. Matt, sorry, but
Everyone except for Eric says that
No. What I'm saying here is that's bullshit because, like, what about, I mean, you can win money. You literally win American currency in other fashions.
All right, I'll rephrase,
so it's
Matt.
literally not worthless if you don't win the championship.
I'll rephrase.
Like, look at Will last year. He won like $100.
Everyone is always...
Hey, I thought it was my segment.
I'm trying to ask you a question, but...
Bob, will you ask Matt the question? What the fuck?
Some people think that the season is lost and it's a failure if you don't win the championship. Considering you've had 4 losing seasons to start your career here in the Dynasty, honestly, at what point is this season not a failure? Is it already not a failure because you're 12-2, or do you honestly have to win for it not to be a failure?
That's a great question, Bubba.
Thank you. I was pretty proud of this.
It probably wouldn't have been a good question if Eric asked it.
I agree.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree.
I want to say it's been a success because they got the best record in the league, but I mean, I feel like I have to win one round in the playoffs because I have the best record in the league. If that makes sense.
I mean, this is just me personally. I think it's already a success for you just because you have been so bad in the past. But obviously, you'd like to win, right? I'm guessing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. My whole thing is I sell when I'm bad, and I'll buy when I'm good. It's pretty easy for that.
Yeah, it's
for me to do that philosophy.
I think you like to.
What?
I'm just saying, you say a lot that, you sell, but there's been years where you've lost, like, many games before you've sold, and then you sell. I'm just trying to figure this out here.
Well, that's why I sold.
Right.
Like,
basically,
I probably could have had a better record.
Right.
I could have been in the
like 8-7 range or something.
Yeah, the loggers territory right now, or the Soul Glow this season.
Gotcha.
But I don't want to do that.
Gotcha.
I'd rather just, sell and try to win the next season.
Gotcha.
And it actually happened this year.
I hear you. Didn't mean to call you out there, but I'm glad
you did. But you did.
And you countered that wonderfully, because you're awesome,
Thank you.
Matthew. Matthew, it's to no one's surprise here that you have a little bit of a rivalry here with the Palucha brothers. Who doesn't, though, right? Am I right? You and Zach entered the league at the same time, and if you win this week and Zach loses, which is likely, or at least possible, Zach would only have one more all-time win than you. And with you entering the playoffs here, you have the chance to do something that Bub has never done, and that's, of course, win a title. Would you turn all of those 5-10 and 6-9 loser jokes on them if everything goes your way here?
I would hope that it'd be more of they would stop doing that.
Mm-hmm. Bub, would you?
Than me start doing it.
Bubba?
I'm never going to stop because I fucking hate your guts.
There it is. There it is.
All right, well, then I guess it's on, you fucking asshole.
To the Twitter machine, @allergic-to-peanut-butter tweets us.
Buddy, I follow him.
What have you done differently this year to cause this drastic change of success for your team?
That's a good question. I think it was more. I took a different approach to the draft this year, and I think that helped out. It was more. I kept the same philosophy of getting the running backs early, but it was more of choosing the right receivers this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it always helps when you pick better players. That always helps.
Didn't you also have an outdated magazine?
Not what I said, but what?
Didn't you also have an outdated magazine from 2007 or something?
Yeah, but unlike Will, who says he didn't just study the night before. He did. I studied before that.
Gotcha.
He did something in front of my face because my printer sucks.
Your opponent this week, Coach, is, as you said, Brew Deluxe, Coach Brandon McDowell. We reached out to him, and I'm going to be honest with you, he didn't have a lot to say, but he did say this, and I'm going to try to do this in my best Brandon impression because it was through an email. It wasn't an actual voicemail. Brandon says, "Don't suck. I mean, don't choke. Damn it, I messed it up." Well, that's kind of like Brandon. He messed up the whole season and next season. So he says, "Don't choke." That's all he says to you.
Oh, it's one of those reverse psychology things.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, his team is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of probably the worst smack talk matchup you've had all season, right?
It's true.
Probably got to say that, right? So it's pretty boring. Might as well just go on to the next segment.
Okay. With that being said, thank you, Matthew, for being on the show. Of course, congratulations on a wonderful season. You know what? We're actually going to hopefully talk to you next week on the Playoff Edition show when we'll have all 4 of the playoff coaches on the show to talk about the playoffs. So we look forward to talking to you again next week. Good luck here in possibly getting a 13th Dynasty Tide record-breaking win. And good biddings.
Oh, thanks, guys.
We interrupt this broadcast to remind you that you can get all of the latest Dynasty updates by following the Riverdale Gazette on Twitter. The Riverdale Gazette Twitter page. Don't be left behind.
Wow, Bob, what a remarkable show. The end of the regular season is upon us, and I think we're all forgetting that we not only have the Dynasty Championship trophy the winner will get amongst the winnings and the guts and the glory, but the motherfucking Brie Olson website, a free membership, and, I mean, we don't want to forget about that. We do not want to forget about that, Bob.
I didn't forget about it.
I feel like you may have. Are you sure you didn't?
I did, because I can't win that.
That's true. So you're not even thinking about it because you're so disappointed that you can't enjoy Brie Olson's asshole.
I'll have to go visit her when I go home.
You aren't going to do that, though, because she lives in California, and you don't really know her.
Through technology,
I gotcha. You want to know what else you should not forget about, Bob?
I'm going to guess the periodic table.
Nope. You never want to forget about Jube's Family Restaurant, because damn it, are they tasty, am I right?
Great pancakes.
Don't think they probably do for breakfast, right?
Fucking right, they do. I had Reese's Peanut Butter Cup pancakes one time.
They are remarkable. This is going to wrap up episode number 16 of the Dynasty Podcast. I'd like to thank Coach Chris Heney, Coach DeYoung, Coach Phil Tamulis, and Coach Matt Wiffin. Of course, thanks to all of our diehard listeners.
Edition number 4 of the Riverdale Gazette, featuring a season recap, the announcements of Draft Pick of the Year, MVP, and Trade of the Year winners, and the long-awaited announcement of the Commish approval ranking and the League Fund ranking. Dynasty Ethics Manager findings, every team's recap, a playoff and Dynasty Bowl 10 preview, plus much more will be released next week. Build up a nice healthy shit and be on the lookout.
This is Commissioner Scooper.
And this is the Commish Apprentice, Bo Palucha.
We're going to be back next week with our special edition playoff show. See you next week. Over and out.
Hi, this is Dynasty Technology Analyst and Dynasty Power Ranking Association member, Coach DeYoung Kim of the Yellow Peril. And this ridiculous episode of the Dynasty Podcast was brought to you by Jube's Family Restaurant. These cocksuckers are open 6 days a week for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Call 508-234-7768 and reserve a table now.